Somewhere right now, a 2-year-old is being left alone in a room. There's a toy behind them, and a grown-up has just said one thing before walking out the door. Don't look. The grown-up leaves. A hidden camera keeps rolling. And almost every single time, within seconds, the child turns around and looks. Then the adult comes back and asks one question. Did you peek? For decades, we assumed we knew how this goes. Children are honest. Children can't really lie. If they say something untrue, they're just confused or playing or making things up. That was the scientific consensus for most of a century. And it was wrong. Because some of these toddlers look the adult straight in the eye and say no. That no is one of the most important moments in your entire life, and you don't remember it happening. It's the moment a human being first does something almost nothing else on earth can do. Hold a true thing in your head, and on purpose, hand someone a false one. So when did that start? When did our species learn to lie? The answer turns out to be a doorway into what makes the human mind human at all. Let's start with that experiment, because it's the spine of this whole story. The psychologist behind the modern version is Kang Lee at the University of Toronto, working with Victoria Talwar and Angela Evans. They ran it thousands of times, across countries, religions, boys and girls. The setup never changed. A child, a forbidden toy, an adult who leaves and comes back. They called it the temptation resistance paradigm, which is a very polite way of saying, we tempted children to cheat, then watched whether they'd lie about it. And what they found was a timeline, a switch that flips on a schedule. At 2 years old, most kids confess. Only about a quarter of them lie. At 3, it's half. By 4, more than 80% will look you in the eye and deny what they did. After that, nearly all of them. Lying isn't taught. Nobody sits a child down and trains them to deceive. It arrives on its own, like teeth, like walking, which raises the obvious question. What is actually switching on? Here's where it gets interesting. To tell even the simplest lie, your brain has to do something hard. You have to hold two versions of reality at the same time. The thing that actually happened and the thing you want someone else to believe happened. Then you have to keep them apart and feed the false one to a person while privately keeping the true one for yourself. That takes a specific ability. You have to understand that the other person has a mind that holds beliefs. Beliefs that can be different from yours and different from reality. Psychologists call this theory of mind, and it's the quiet engine underneath almost everything social we do. Think about what that means. To lie to you, I have to model what's inside your head. I have to know that you don't know what I know. A lie is, in a strange way, a kind of respect. It's proof that I see you as a separate mind, worth fooling. There's a classic way to test for it. You show a child a candy box, ask what's inside, and they say candy. Then you open it and reveal it's actually full of pencils. Now you ask, when your friend comes in, what will they think is inside? A younger child says pencils because they know it's pencils and they can't yet picture a mind that believes something false. But around age 4, the child grins and says candy. They've just understood that someone else can hold a belief that's wrong. And that is the exact thing a lie depends on. And the timeline lines up. Children start passing these tests around the same age the convincing lies begin, the very same window. Lee found that the good liars weren't worse kids. They were sharper ones. Lying took two things at once: understanding what someone else believes and having the mental control to hold your own story straight. The children who lied best simply had more of both. Let that sink in. The first time your child fools, you might be, one of the clearest signs their brain is working exactly the way it should. But this is about our species, not just our toddlers. So here's the bigger question. If lying switches on in every human child, where did it come from? Did it begin with us? Or is it older than humanity itself? So they looked at our relatives. In 1985, two researchers, Richard Byrne and Andrew Whiten, started cataloging something strange in wild primates. They called it tactical deception, and they built an entire database of it. One case became famous. A young baboon is watching an adult dig up a fat root, food the youngster has no chance of taking by force. So the young one does something else. It screams. The specific scream that means I'm being attacked. The mother comes charging in, sees the adult looming over her distressed baby, and drives the adult off. The food is left behind. The young baboon strolls over and takes it. Nothing attacked that baboon. There was no threat. It produced a false alarm to change what another animal believed, and it worked. Byrne and Whiten gathered case after case like this, mostly in monkeys and apes, and out of it grew an idea called the Machiavellian intelligence hypothesis. The argument was unsettling. Maybe primate brains, including ours, didn't grow large just to make tools or find food. Maybe they grew large to handle each other, to track who owes whom, who's allied with who can be trusted, and who can be fooled. In that view, intelligence is less a tool for solving the world than a tool for solving each other. And deception stops looking like a glitch in social life. It starts looking like one of the engines that built the social brain. Now, scientists argue hard about these animal cases, and they should. We can't crawl inside a baboon's head and confirm it was thinking, "I shall deceive my mother." A lot of deception in nature is automatic. A possum playing dead isn't plotting. A bird faking a broken wing to lure a fox from its nest isn't running a calculation. That's instinct, baked in over millions of years, no mind required. So here's the line that matters. There's a difference between being deceptive and telling a lie. The possum deceives, but to truly lie, you need that inner model. You need to know there's a mind on the other side, holding a belief, and you need to want to reach in and change it. The flexible, invented, made-up-on-the-spot lie, the kind a 4-year-old tells about a toy, seems to live almost entirely with us and our closest relatives, which means the raw ingredients are ancient. The full recipe might be ours. So picture the world where that recipe came together. For hundreds of thousands of years, humans lived in small bands, 20, 30, 50 people. You knew everyone. You ate with them, slept beside them, depended on them for your life. There was no privacy and nowhere to disappear to. In a world like that, information about other people was the most valuable thing you owned. Who shared and who hoarded, who was brave and who ran, who was loyal and who wasn't. Reputation wasn't a profile online, it was survival itself. If the group decided you couldn't be trusted, you didn't get fed. And the moment reputation matters that much, a strange pressure appears. Suddenly, there's an enormous payoff for shaping what other people believe about you, for looking braver than you are, more generous, more faithful. Suddenly, it pays to manage the story. This is the trap evolution walked us into. The better humans got at reading each other's minds, the more valuable it became to feed those minds false information. And the better we got at lying, the better everyone else had to get at catching it. Sharper liars produced sharper lie catchers, who produced sharper liars, round and round for thousands of generations. Some researchers think that arms race, mind reading mind, is part of why we ended up with brains this oversized and this obsessed with each other. But here's the part that's hard to sit with. The exact ability that lets you lie is the exact ability that makes you human in every way you're proud of. To deceive someone, you imagine a reality that doesn't exist and place it inside another mind. Now look at what else that is. When you feel empathy, you're imagining a reality that isn't yours, the world from inside someone else's experience. When you plan, you're building a future that doesn't exist yet and acting on it. When you tell a story, write a song, comfort a grieving friend with a gentle picture of tomorrow, you are doing the same thing a lie does. Holding up something that isn't real so that someone can step inside it. Lying, empathy, imagination, the same engine, just pointed in different directions. You cannot build a creature that can comfort and dream and create without also building a creature that can deceive. They come from the same place. There is no version of the human mind that gets the gift without the shadow. The same machinery that lets a mother tell her frightened child that everything is going to be okay is the machinery that lets a stranger lie to your face. You don't get one without the other. So when did humans learn to lie? The honest answer is that there was probably never a first liar. No single ancestor who woke up one morning and invented the lie. It came in gradually, the way a tide comes in, carried on the same slow current that gave us everything else. As our ancestors got better at seeing into each other's minds, they got better at fooling them. The two could never be pulled apart. They were the same growth. Every lie you've ever told ran on hardware hundreds of thousands of years old. Hardware that was never really built for lying at all. It was built for understanding each other so completely that fooling each other became possible as a side effect, and it's still running. Tonight, somewhere, a 2-year-old is going to turn around and look at a toy they were told to ignore. An adult is going to come back and ask. And for the first time in that small life, a mind is going to look at another mind, understand that it can be shaped, and quietly decide to shape it. It will feel like a tiny act of mischief. It's actually one of the oldest things you are. The moment one human being looks at another, truly sees that someone is in there, and understands them well enough to change what they believe. We didn't learn to lie. We learned to understand each other. The lying came free.